Ceres is unquestionably one of the hottest and most hyped up pizzerias in New York City right now. The restaurant was started by veterans at the 3 Michelin starred 11 Madison Park. When Dave Portnoy of One Bite Pizza Reviews scored the pizza a 9.2, the place exploded in popularity. Simply put, I had to see for myself if Ceres lived up to the hype, the long waits, and the high prices.
It's a pleasant day today here in New York City. Right now I'm at Washington Square Park and I'm just doing a bit of relaxing after having had a really good lunch at one of the hottest and most hyped up pizza places in all of NYC right now, Ceres. Now, new pizzerias open up all the time here in this city, but in the case of Ceres, it was started by 2 chefs from the 3 Michelin starred 11 Madison Park. Because of that, I knew I had to check Ceres out, and I did back in January, not long after it opened, and I really enjoyed it, although I didn't think that it was perfect. Since then, the place just blew up. It got more and more popular, but things really went to the next level when Dave Portnoy rated Ceres Pizza a 9.2, one of the highest scores he's given in a while. Now, I'm very happy for the restaurant's success, but unfortunately, because of that success, some changes were made, and not all the changes are ones that I like. When I went, the restaurant served slices, but now they only serve whole pies. Plus, there's lines, and if you want a pizza, you're gonna have to wait. Still, I really like the place, and I thought it was fitting to go back and see how the restaurant's changed. Plus, I wanted to try a whole pie to begin with, and I wanted to find out if they actually measured up to their high price tags, because a plain cheese pie is $40. With that being said, this was my lunch at Ceres.
Ceres is located in Little Italy of Manhattan and opened in January of 2025. Its founders, Julian and Jake, met while working at the 3 Michelin starred 11 Madison Park. The name Ceres refers to the Roman goddess of agriculture, crops, and grain. In fact, the word cereal is derived from Ceres. When I first went to the pizzeria back in January, a week or so after it opened, there were next to no customers coming in while I enjoyed my lunch. However, things changed, lines grew, and suddenly Ceres became the most hyped up pizzeria of New York City, especially when Dave Portnoy of One Bite Pizza Reviews scored their pizza a 9.2, which is one of the highest scores he has ever given in NYC. Unfortunately, with the increased attention, the restaurant had to make some changes, which included eliminating slices as they were no longer feasible to sell. Regarding whole pies, they are only offered by in-person pre-orders, which depending on when one goes can result in some pretty hefty waits. I knew that getting a pizza wasn't going to be easy, so I showed up for a weekday lunch before the restaurant opened.
I just get in line about 11:05. The place opens up at 11:30, so I got about a 25-minute wait, but the weather's pretty good and I do have a book, so I'm totally fine with it.
Those 25 minutes flew by, and a couple of minutes after 11:30, customers were invited inside. Interior-wise, I really like Ceres. For a counter-service pizzeria, it has a nice look to it. The design is fairly minimal, with a row of seats along one side of the restaurant while a few tables occupy the other. I particularly appreciated the chairs, as they not only had a sharp look to them, they were incredibly comfy. I felt that the high-grade seating was reflective of Ceres as a whole, as a place that didn't skimp on quality. Although, I felt that the restaurant did skimp on other things, but I'll get to that later. In the meantime, the line moved efficiently, and in about 10 minutes I was up at the counter placing my order. In terms of the menu, it's limited and expensive. However, at least none of the prices jumped up from when I first visited back before the restaurant was popular. In fact, the tomato pie actually decreased in price. The other issue for me was the lack of options. When I go to a pizzeria for the first time, my go-to pie is typically pepperoni. It's my favorite pizza and a standard offering for nearly every pizza restaurant. It's a shame that Ceres doesn't yet offer a pepperoni. Still, the options that were on the menu sounded great. In terms of beverages, there's some sodas along with a couple bottled waters. For me, I utilized the restaurant's self-serve water tap, filled up a glass, and then found a seat.
I just ordered, the line moved pretty efficiently. I just got a plain cheese and we'll see how long it takes.
Luckily, I didn't have a very long wait. It only took around 10 minutes or so from ordering until I was presented with my pizza, and that was one hell of a pie. It was much larger than I thought it would be. I'm not sure of the exact dimensions, but it was big and it contained 8 slices. Considering that I only had 3 slices on my first visit to the restaurant, I had my work cut out for me. Visually, it was a beautiful pizza with a strong charred crust, air bubbles, and a dusting of some fresh grated Parmesan. Simply put, I couldn't wait to try it.
Really, really, really good pizza. I'm happy.
Flavor-wise, the pizza was different from all the other cheese pizzas out there in the best possible way.
The quality of ingredients on this pie is just really on a high level.
The cheese pizza at Ceres consists of San Marzano tomatoes, scamorza cheese, and mozzarella. In addition, there was olive oil drizzled onto the pie, and of course, there was the grated parm.
The cheese, the sauce, just awesome.
With all the ingredients combined, it made for a spectacular cheese pizza that tasted a bit different from the others out there. The use of scamorza cheese in combination with the mozzarella was a good move as it added more character and complexity to the pizza. The taste of the olive oil was also there and it was in the perfect amount. For me, the tomato sauce really hit the mark. It wasn't too sweet or savory, it was simply perfect. Now, despite the top tier ingredients, the issue for me was that there simply wasn't enough of them. I wanted a bit more cheese and a bit more sauce. The result was a pie that seemed slightly dry at points. This became the most apparent when I started to reach the crust, as there was hardly any cheese applied in that area. Now, in terms of the crust and base of the pizza, Ceres utilizes sourdough, which once again is different from most of the other offerings out there. The flavor of the sourdough-based pies was nice, and it complemented the cheese and sauce well, but by itself, without the toppings, it was just sort of bland, which was very apparent in the crust.
You know, the crust in some ways is really good. It's nice and crispy, great crunch, but it's just a little too much for me. I mean, I like the cheese and sauce, and I wish there was more of that. Less crust. It looks great though.
Simply put, I felt that the crust occupied a bit too much real estate on the pizza, and frankly, it became a bit tiresome to eat. The crust lacked flavor, and it was dry as a bone.
So on most of the slices, I'm not eating the crust. I'm just wondering if I'll be able to finish the whole thing, so I gotta prioritize the best parts of the pizza. I've noticed most people are actually sharing the pies. These are pretty sizable.
To be fair, I was experiencing a bit of palate fatigue with the pie. 8 slices is a lot, but back when I only had 3 slices of pizza, I of course finished the crust, even though my issues with it were the same. Although one thing I did like about the pizza was the crisp texture in combination with the cheese and sauce. The underside of the pie was solid, and slices as a whole were as stiff as could be. There was no flop and evidently no real need to even fold the slices. While I felt more cheese and sauce would help the pie if there was such a thing as pizza Viagra, the pies at Ceres wouldn't need it.
So there are 2 slices left. Honestly, I'm pretty satisfied right now, but I do not want to be dragging around an entire pizza box today, so I'm gonna crush those 2 slices.
Despite some issues, I really like Ceres. The quality of ingredients and the resulting flavors are fantastic, but it's the balance and amount of ingredients that lessen the pizza a bit for me. However, pizza preferences are subjective, and with so many varieties of pizza out there, no one can dictate what exactly a pizza should be. My issues with the pizza at Ceres might not be problematic for others.
Last slice.
To sum it up, that was a great cheese pizza, but to me, it's not one of the best in New York City because of the slight dryness and balance issues. In fact, I found that the 3 slices I had on my first visit were more enjoyable than the cheese pie. For that meal, I got a white slice, a mushroom slice, and a tomato slice, in which I also added ricotta and peppers. All of those slices contained great ingredients, resulting in excellent flavors, but they still had the same issues I experienced with the cheese pizza, which I absolutely crushed.
I am finished. Now, it's not a completely clean plate because there's the crust, but I just didn't feel like eating it. Still, I'm very satisfied, and that was a hell of a pizza. So that was a really good lunch. I really enjoyed myself. That is great pizza. It's not perfect pizza, but it was satisfying pizza nevertheless. To me, Ceres does live up to the hype. It's one of the must-visit pizza places of New York City, but I don't think it's one of the best pizza places of New York City. When it comes to pizza specifically, so much of it comes down to personal preference, so my complaints might not necessarily be an issue to someone else. Now, I absolutely love the sauce and cheese on the pie, but I just wish there was a bit more of it because it did tend to get a little dry, especially towards the crust. And for me, the crust, even though it had a great crisp to it and was a good handle to really get a grip on the pizza, it was just a little too much for me. But don't get me wrong, I still really enjoyed the pizza. These are just small, sort of nitpicking complaints of why I don't think it is the absolute best pizza. Now, I've never really given out scores to pizza or restaurants like Dave Portnoy does, but if I were to do so with the pizza I had today, I'd give it an 8.3. Still really good pizza, but not quite top tier. But like I said, when it comes to pizza especially, it does come down a lot to personal preference. Now regarding price, Ceres is expensive. It's one of the most expensive pizzerias out there, and I was really ready to say that it was overpriced. However, after having had it, it doesn't seem as overpriced as I thought it would be. The restaurant serves big pizzas. They could easily fill 2 people. Now, I have the appetite of 2 people, so 1 pizza was perfectly fine for me, but you do get a lot for your money. If you're splitting a cheese pizza, that's about 20 bucks each, and that's not bad in New York City these days. Plus, the place uses good, high-quality ingredients, and you can definitely tell that care and love goes into every pie the restaurant makes. Overall, I really like Ceres. Now, like I said, it wasn't perfect for me, but it is definitely a place that I'll be going back to. I do hope one day that they return to offering slices, and I would love to see them expand their menu a bit more. I mean, I would love to have a pepperoni pizza from Ceres. That just sounds amazing. To sum it up, Ceres lives up to the hype, but like I said, I don't think it's perfect, but nevertheless, it's a damn fine pizzeria, and I will certainly be returning.